Hi there, Joka here with 2 new cards using some of the add-on die kits for the open house collection. This is one, and this is called Pumpkin Topiary, I think. Then this one here could be Open House Halloween, I think. I am really bad with names, but I'm going to link everything in the description box below just to make sure that you have the right products. And I'm also using this small set here. This one, oh gosh, I did check what I think it's called Thankful, what you see here on the doormat. And there's a few little banners with it. And all these work with the open house collection that I did a video with a while back. I don't remember exactly when, but you can check out my channel and I'm sure you'll find it. And then there is this last set. This is called Grateful Sentiments Steps, I think. And these work well with the stairs that you have in the open house collection. And these are the big sets, the open house collection, and already some of the add-ons from back then that I will also be using on these cards. And I am going with pattern papers today because I just got the Paige Evans Bungalow Lane collection and it's a fall collection, so I thought it would work well with these fall products. But I was struggling with time, so I actually only have 2 cards, and one of them is used in this beautiful collection. I mainly chose the pinks and yellows, browns in this, and I already die cut everything off camera because this takes a very long time. So I'm just going to put the card together. And for this, I am creating a card base here. And I actually use the same size of card. I don't remember exactly. I think it was 4.25 by 7.25. The exact same size that I used for my other card in the previous video that used these steps, because that was, back then I planned it out what the size should be to fit everything on it. So I just literally I just measured that card, so I didn't have to think about it. Okay, so here I die cut these all these 3 words that come in that add-on kit, and I'm just gluing it onto a heavyweight cardstock. And by the way, this brown cardstock is from Spellbinders, so it's also really thick. But for me, it's easier to always back these die cuts with something, because as you can see, then I can just add all the tiny little letters in there. So plus it gives it a little bit of a dimension, so the card is not so flat. So I like to do this. And as you can see, the door I also backed with heavyweight cardstock. I did that with every piece here because pattern paper is anyway too thin. So, to make it sturdy and nice, I always add heavyweight cardstock. Okay, so I'm just assembling the card. As you can see, it's really pretty much the same as the Christmas card was in the previous video. And the cardstock that you see on this card, this ivory color, then the light brown, they are Spellbinders cardstock, and also the dark brown that I will use for the pumpkin. Okay, so there's not much to say. You see what I'm doing. Oh yeah, for these tiny little bits here, I used Nouveau. Why am I saying Nouveau? Was it just Tonic Studios or Nouveau? I'm not sure, but it's definitely from Tonic Studio, the gold cardstock. And I am adding foam tape to some of the things here to the rail, although not to the all those rails, but as you can see, those rails will be glued to the stair, so those already have a bit of a lift there. So I'm only adding foam tape to the handle or bar, I don't know what you call those. And now I'm trying to figure out where I want to place my pumpkins. And I'm actually, as you can see, I glue the pumpkin down onto cardstock, but this I only did so that the two pieces are kept together, because the pumpkins are actually coming from the pumpkin topiary kit, where you can there's 3 different pumpkins and you can build them on top of each other, or like you see here, you also have the top part, so you can use those together, but they are not so they are cut apart. That is why I had to, or not had to, but I did glue it onto another piece of paper. Okay, so now it's coming together, and there's this little banner here. I die cut the little pieces from different cardstock in matching colors. I wanted to add some more like reddish colors, but then I realized that I had that same color on the windows, and you know, I felt like it would not pop from there. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if this is interesting at all, that you just see me gluing things and putting them together, but I thought that the die cutting part would, it would not make much sense to show, because I guess everybody knows how to die cut, and that really takes hours, because some of these things, or most of these things, you only have one small die in the kit, and then you have to die cut several to fill your card. And here I changed my mind. I originally put foam tape on this smaller pumpkin because I wanted to put it, I don't know actually where, somewhere else. And in the end, I will also not add it to the steps. I really liked it there, but then it was hanging onto the rail, and that just didn't seem right to me, and I didn't want to cover the sentiment, so I will place that somewhere else. And then, because there were some flowers, I think that's also in the pumpkin topiary die set, I wanted to decorate my front door with a bit of floral clusters, because I kind of need flowers on everything. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out the placement, and once I have that down, I'm just going to adhere everything. And yeah, the card is actually close to being done now. I don't know, do you guys have any of these sets? I really love that you can use them for all kinds of occasions. There's so many add-ons at this point, And I don't know, I mean, it's always terrifying when you know that you have to die cut a lot, and um, it will take time, but I'm always so excited to see how it comes together in the end. Um, these are the kind of projects that I love the most, even if it, if it takes time. I'm just not a clean and simple card maker. I don't even think I could pull it off. I would feel like my projects are not done. So yeah, I kind of like this kind of work. Okay, so that's where my second pumpkin ended up as well, on the top of the stairs. And yeah, and now moving on to the other one. This one is a Halloween set, and I am using a 6x6 paper pad from Fancy Pants Designs. Excuse me. This one is called Spellbound, and it's from, I don't know, a few years ago. And I just decided to keep the card 6x6 as well. And this is going to be my background. And the previous card that I had with this die set, where I have the door and those two side panels as well, I actually measured that card. That was 6 1/4. But here I had enough space on this as well. So I guess the other Topiary set is bigger, maybe. Okay, so this Halloween set, I think it's called Open House Halloween, this particular set where you have the bats and the number, then the spider web looking window, and the skulls as well. And then, yeah, and then there's those pots that I cut from striped paper. Those are from the pumpkin topiary set. Okay, so I'm assembling everything the same way I did on the previous card. And yeah, it's not very interesting, but I don't know. I just like how it comes together. So for some of these pieces, I just used liquid glue. I guess I could have used foam tape for those panels, so that they pop off the door more, because I just used the same color as the door itself. But yeah, I didn't. I only added foam tape to the door. And now, like I mentioned, I'm always adding heavyweight cardstock behind my pattern papers. And these are the 3 pumpkins that I mentioned. So you can put them on top of each other and then put them in this pot. And I cut off the back of that pot so that I didn't have such a big bulge there. And now, instead of what I'm normally doing, I would normally glue these onto another piece of cardstock and then just fussy cut them out. I'm just adding foam tape directly to them, and then that is going to hold them together. And I will have 2 of these, so one on either side of the door. And I kind of like that pot being, that striped paper is my favorite from this collection. But it kind of messed with the, I don't know, it messed with my eye, the dimension. It just looks flat because of the flat stripes. So I will add something to it that I think helps imagine that it's a dimensional pot. Yeah, you will understand in a second, I hope. So I created the card base, and now I'm just adding the rest on top. I had to glue down the door to see um, how big or how wide a stripe I need at the bottom. Just under the door, I wanted to use different pattern paper. Okay, so I am now adding these topiaries, and then I figured that instead of adding the, I will get back to what I was just saying. But now, what I mentioned earlier, these gold pieces, these will help create those curves in the pot that I think just help you see the dimension in it. I actually think that I die cut these pots from white cardstock, and they were so beautiful. I almost went with those, but they just didn't stand out so much, I think. Anyway, so back to the pumpkins. I I really love these skulls, and I instead of putting the pumpkins together, I decided to add a skull into each of them, and then put the top of the pumpkin on top of the skull. And by the way, I decided to die cut a lot of these skulls to layer them up. So each of these have two layers to them, just so that they stand out a bit more. And also to some of them, I'm adding some foam tape, but they are tiny. So I don't normally like adding foam tape to tiny things, but I did here. You see what I mean? Once I add these curved bits and pieces, I think the shape is more defined and it looks more like a pot. I think those stripes kind of messed with my eyes there. Okay, and now I'm just trying to figure out where I want my skulls. I did not want the card to be symmetrical. I'm not a huge fan of symmetrical designs for some reason, but yeah, so purposefully I try to avoid that. Okay, so here are the two cards. I hope I could give you some ideas with these little add-on kits, and I hope you will try some of these. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.